Hey everybody, how are you doing today? Well, this week I thought we could talk a little bit about some community safety tips. We are seeing some different signs of spring. Spring is on its way, and hopefully, with spring coming, that means we'll be moving back out into the community and doing a few more outdoor and some more fun activities. So I thought maybe we could kind of refresh ourselves in understanding and reminding ourselves of some of the different community things that are happening out and about us. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you're heading out into the community, making sure that you are always aware of where you are going and how you are going to get there. It may often take sometimes several trips to get to where we need to get to, and it can be very easy sometimes if we know where we're going, but yet we can still easily get turned around when we're in a new and unfamiliar place. Making sure that if you're a little unfamiliar with different locations, that you're always going with staff or a family member until you're absolutely sure about where you are going and how to get back by yourself. You can always practice this by taking staff or family members with you and showing them how to get there to the location you're going and how to get back, and making sure that you are fully aware of your surroundings and where you are heading to. When you're out and about and taking maybe a walk, even if it's a casual walk or you're heading to a specific location, make sure you pay attention. Pay attention to some of the different landmarks that are out there, street signs, buildings, different things that you can see within your environment, the trees, the landscaping. It helps to orient you into your surroundings, and it also helps you enjoy your trip. Seeing the different maybe changes that have taken place since last summer or last spring even. And it's kind of enjoyable to see how things kind of change and progress as time goes on. Maybe as you're paying attention to those different landmarks and street signs, you could even maybe create a map for yourself if you'd like to. If you're in a new area where you are maybe looking at a new route to work, a new route to a new favorite restaurant or a new place in town, create that map, and it can help you practice using that map so that you know how to get to your location and then back to home. Make sure you always carry your ID with you, or a phone number, or your address, so then if you ever do get lost or you're unsure of where you're at, and if you need any assistance or an emergency, you always have that information with you. When you're out and about walking, make sure you're paying attention to where you're walking at. Make sure you're using those crosswalks when available. Drivers are out on the streets as well. People are out more and enjoying the weather and the nice times. They need to be more aware of where the pedestrians are and making sure that they know that you're in that crosswalk. They are more apt to look into where you are than if you're walking through the middle of the road. Use those street signs to know where you are, as well as that the crosswalks, whether it's time for you to walk across the street or if you should wait until you get the signal to walk. That walk sign is going to give you that okay to walk, but you still also need to remember to look both ways before you're going across the street. We need to be just as aware of those drivers as those drivers are aware of us. So make sure that you're using those walk signs, you're looking both ways before you cross the street, looking both ways before you even get out into the street, out into that crosswalk, to make sure that you're safe and aware of who's around you, and they're aware of where you are as well. It's okay to be to stay on that side of caution or pay extra or be extra cautious, as some drivers aren't always paying attention. So again, if your sign says to walk, always make sure that you're looking first. Always make sure to stay alert to signs of fatigue. If you're getting tired, maybe you need to take a break, find a bench, or maybe not take as long of a walk or as long as a trip to get to that next location. There are beautiful benches throughout our community here in Vermilion. I'm sure there are in yours if you are in a different location. But maybe take that time, sit on a bench, and even just enjoy those surroundings and take note of what's around you. Like I said, the landmarks, the street signs, the buildings, the landscaping. There's so many different things you can keep an eye on and enjoy, and also help to remember where we're at. Make sure you're being careful of obstacles in your path. Keep an eye on those sidewalks. As winter has come through, different cracks may have come up where the two slabs of cement come together. One might be a little bit more raised. Make sure you're keeping track of where those obstacles are. Choose the safer path. If there's two ways for you to go, maybe go across the street and use a better sidewalk. Just make sure you're taking note of where those obstacles are, and always make sure that you're choosing that safer path. If you're out in the evenings, make sure that you're always being cautious and alert to your surroundings and staying in those well-lit and public areas. Don't ever accept anything from a stranger, and don't get into a car with somebody that you don't know. People may attempt to take advantage of you, and we want to make sure that you're always staying safe. So if you're heading out in the evening, go out with a group, go out with your family, go out with staff. If you're walking, remember to stay in well-lit areas that have good street lights. There's a lot of traffic going around with other people walking. It's a very public place. Don't take a new route at night when you're unsure of where you are. You may think you know that route, but if you've never taken it before, try to do that in daylight and not in the evening. Always, always be cautious and very alert of where you're at. Some other things to think about, if you are heading out on a walk or you're going for a car ride. Very enjoyable things to do this time of year. Make sure that you are always learning your way around the community. So maybe if you are trying out a new route, maybe go for a car ride first. So get in the car, drive the route, and then maybe go ahead and take the walk. You're always looking for ways to learn that new environment and those new surroundings. So again, paying attention to those buildings, different things around you, landscaping, where you're at, those street signs is always very important. Make sure that when you're heading out, you're also dressing appropriately. This time of year is very tricky, especially for us in South Dakota. We never know if it's going to be cold or windy or hot. If you need to, make sure you've got, your coat, a hat. If you need to dress in layers, sometimes if we head out in the morning, it's one temperature, and by the afternoon, we have something completely different. Just keep an eye out and be prepared for that weather. Even if you're heading out and you're like, oh, it's not so bad, after you get a few blocks from home, you might realize it's pretty windy and you're a lot colder than you were when you first left. So make sure you're prepared and dressed appropriately for what you need to. Make sure if you're in the car and you're going for that drive first, you have your seatbelt on. Make sure that you're getting that seatbelt on before you leave where you're going. As you're either driving or you're going for that walk, like I said, identify those different street names, or ask, what direction are we going? Are we going north? Are we going south? Are we on the east side of town? Are we on the south side of town? Well, look at here. This is where we are at John's Market. This is Hy-Vee. This is Walmart. Making sure that we know the name of those different places. If we're walking around the Walmart area, we know we have Walmart or Casey's or Runnings or Scooters, Make sure that you know that you're aware of the name of those different places, locations, and businesses in that area. Make sure that you're always staying positive. We want to make sure that we're heading out in the community and maybe learning new areas to visit, new places to go. So keep positive. Maybe it might take a few trips for you to help remember that route, but keep it up and enjoy that time while you're outside. So I want to kind of go over just a few different community scenarios. Like, what would you do if this were to happen? So I have a few different problem-solving questions for you. I'm going to go ahead and I'll ask that question, and then I'd like for you to pause the video. You can discuss that with your family, staff, or people that you're with, or even just think about it yourself. Come up with what you would do in that kind of situation. Once you come up with your answers, I would like for you at some point to either discuss them with somebody. We can do that when we meet ourselves, do that with a family member or with your staff, friends, or people that you're staying with. Some of these different situations we think, well, we live in a smaller community, maybe they'll never happen. But we always want to make sure that we know what our options are and what's the best choice for us to stay safe in those different situations. So I'll read the question, give you a chance to pause the video, and then I'll go ahead and give you the next question or the next scenario, okay? So the first one that I have for you today is Sarah really wanted to go out and get some ice cream. So she wanted to walk down to the ice cream store to get a hot fudge sundae. She was asked to wait until someone could go with her. She had never really been there by herself, but thought, I could find my own way. So Sarah went to the ice cream stand alone, and she got lost. She could not find her way back to her residence or to her home. Okay, I want you to pause the video here and discuss what should Sarah have done and what should Sarah do now. All right, the next question we have. John knew his way around town. He wanted to run to the bank and get back before his next session. He decided to take a shortcut. Instead of walking through the crosswalk, he ran across the middle of the street without looking. He did not see the car coming, but heard the crash as another car ran into the one that stopped suddenly to avoid hitting him. I want you to pause the video here and ask yourself, what should John have done? What should he do now? Next question. You are walking back to your house from the mall when all of a sudden you've become disoriented and you are unsure of which way you're supposed to go. What should you do now? I want you to pause the video here and discuss what is one thing or what are some possible solutions of how you can get out of this situation. What should you do next? Okay. You're at the grocery store when you suddenly begin to feel ill, and you're at the grocery store alone. What should you do? Pause the video here and decide what's the next step that you should do if you feel sick at the store. Next question. You decide to go for a car ride with your staff or your family member. What is the first thing that you should do when you get into the car? And why is that always important? Pause the video here and answer that question. You are supposed to meet staff at a certain entrance of the mall, and you're supposed to meet them at 4 o'clock. What are some strategies that you could use to help yourself remember where and when you should be meeting staff? Go ahead and pause and answer those questions. You are out with friends at the store when one of them dares you to steal a pack of gum. What do? You can pause here and discuss your options. And our last question. You are out at the movie theater and someone behind you keeps talking, and they're talking extremely loud. What are some possible solutions to this situation? You can pause here and discuss those solutions. Well, I hope that you guys are enjoying getting back out, enjoying the beautiful weather that we have, and the days that we have some nice weather. So just remember, always be aware of your surroundings. Always make sure that you're watching where you're at and keeping track of what's going on. It's always good to be extra cautious. Pay attention to your path, make sure you're not going through any extra obstacles, and choose the safer path. I hope you all enjoy the beautiful weather that we will be having as spring comes through, and I hope you really stop and think about some of these different situations and come up with some good solutions. I hope you all have a great week, and I will all talk to you soon. Bye.